Hi everyone, welcome to another installment of these videos whereby I talk a little bit about some of my songs. I'll break them down to you and I'll show you how to play them on guitar, and I discuss the lyrical inspiration behind them. In this video I'm going to talk about the song Life in a Box. And here I'd like to thank everyone that participated in the Instagram poll that I made and voted for this song to be included in this series of videos. So let us begin. Life in a Box is the fourth track of my album Life. It's a slow ballady type of song and it has a singer-songwriter vibe. It's comprised of one riff played over the verses, a couple of solos, and that's it. The riff is played on an acoustic guitar in the first two verses, and in the last verse I use an electric guitar with a distortion tone just to make the song a little bit heavier. The song is really simple. And one thing I'd like to say here, I believe there is greatness in simplicity. I mean, if you look at some of the most famous songs written in history and some of the most timeless songs that resonated with many people in history, they're really simple, and they're basically either comprised of one riff or a couple of riffs. Just take a look at Working Class Hero by John Lennon or Sugar Man by Rodriguez. You know, that song has inspired many people during the revolution against the apartheid in South Africa. And I don't know, Nutshell by Alice in Chains. All these songs are so great, so beautiful, so timeless, and so legendary, and they're really simple. Now, by no means, and here as a disclaimer, by no means I'm comparing my song to these great songs. I'm just saying that sometimes there is greatness in simplicity, and sometimes less is really more. Another thing I'd like to say here, if somebody tells me that, you know, we're going to remove all your songs from the internet, but you get to keep just one song, what would it be? I would say Life in a Box. Life in a Box to me is one of my proudest creations ever, and it's one of my all-time favorite songs ever, written by me or by someone else. And I really hope that as an artist I get to be as satisfied and as proud in creating another song as I was while writing and creating Life in a Box. Lyrically, the song talks about how transient life is. I remember back in 2011 or 2012, I had a friend who was leaving town to continue studies abroad. And I remember that during his last night in town, I slept at his and his roommate's house. I was sleeping on the couch in the saloon at his roommate's house. And you know, when you leave town, you pack all your stuff, all your belongings, and you put them in boxes and you ship them to your new home. Also, I remembered that he had an early morning flight. So I asked him to wake me up before he went to the airport, you know, just to tell him goodbye and wish him good luck and all that. So I remember at dawn the next day, the guy waking me up, and the first thing I see, the first image that I see when I wake up is stacks and piles of boxes in his saloon. That image stuck in my head. Now another thing, as a writer, whenever inspiration hits me, or whenever I feel the urge to write something, I pick up a pen and paper and I write it. And I stockpile it in my lyric vault. Will I use it? Will I not use it in the future? Who knows? But you know, whenever I feel the urge to write something, I pick up a pen and a paper and I write it. So I remember a couple of weeks after that incident, you know, with the image of boxes in my head, I remember the line Life in a Box coming to my head. So I grabbed a pen and paper and I wrote Life in a Box. Then I started remembering things. I started remembering moments. I started remembering events in my life. People that I've been in contact with or people that I'm not in contact with anymore. Faces. And if you look at the first verse, it says something like that. Distant laughter, distant cries, fading faces, fading eyes, irrevocable memories that won't return, a twist of fate, and then you turn. You know, like that guy leaving town, so you don't know what will happen in your life, and then all of a sudden you turn and walk away from everything you have. So to me, the song has a dual meaning. On one hand, the happy meaning, if you will, or the happy theme, if you will, is that we should always be in the present. We should always think about the moment that we are in. We should not worry about the future, and we should not worry about the past, because the future, we don't know what will happen in it, and the past is already gone. Just be in the moment, be present in the moment, live the moment, and embrace it as much as you can and cherish it, because you know when that moment goes, it's not going to come back to you ever again. Now that's the happy theme. The dark theme, if you will, is that in the grander scheme of things, and if you look in hindsight, if you have a rear view mirror, if you will, and you look at in hindsight at your life, whatever was important in the past might seem insignificant in the future, and all your life in a way might be insignificant in a way or another in the grander scheme of things. And in the last verse, the last line of the song, it says something like that: did you look back and see your life in a box? And here's how I see things. You know, we live our lives in moments. We live our lives in boxes. We live our lives in moments and in boxes. And in the end, hopefully many years from now, but eventually we're all going to end up in one big box 6 feet underground. So it's a very deep song to me. It's one of those songs that, you know, make me think a lot. It's one of these songs that has a universal meaning, and it might mean different things to different people, but to me it has that dual meaning, as I said. On one hand, be present and be in the moment and cherish the moment, because it will not come back to you again. And on the other hand, maybe whatever you think was important now might not seem very important in the future. And in the grander scheme of things, as I said, it might be a little bit insignificant. So, yep, lyrically, that's what Life in a Box is about. Musically, the song is really simple. As I said, it's comprised of one riff played over the verses, a couple of solos, and that's it. So I remember I wrote the song in less than 10 minutes. It was one of those sleepless nights, you know, I wasn't able to sleep. So I picked up my acoustic guitar and I started playing this strumming pattern. Yep, that's it. The chords are E minor, G, A minor, and C. And this repeats all over the song. Then, as I said, I have a couple of solos. I'll show you now. So that's the first solo. It has a clean tone. I use a clean tone, and it's played after the first verse. After the second verse, I play another solo. Now this time using a little more grit, a little more distortion, and it goes something like that. Third verse, I play the same chords of the acoustic riff Now this time simplifying a little bit and just playing the down strokes of the chord of the acoustic riff. It goes something like that. Thank you for tuning in. This is Live in a Box. Hope you're enjoying this series of videos and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.